Hi guys, it's Alec here. So let's have a quick look today at how do we prohibit multi-period processing. In other words, how can we just close off a month or a period for our users within Pastel to not allow them to ultimately process to that period anymore? Because often when we go over to a next financial month, we want to close the previous month and then reconcile, make sure it's now finished off and it doesn't change for us as we move forward towards, throughout the year. But often what happens is transactions are backdated once we've gone over into a next month. We report on that previous month, and then suddenly when we open our or we re-report something or we want to recheck something a few months later, we see that values have changed within our trial balances, and we think, why did this happen? And ultimately we get to the reason that transactions were backdated. Okay, so how do we stop that backdating from happening? Okay, so let's first have a look what we are referring to as multi-period processing versus non-multi-period processing. Okay, I'm just going to open here a demo database, and I'm going to sign in as the non-administrative or non-super user. This is just demo user one. Okay, and I'm going to open a tax invoice here. And once I've opened it, you'll see actually that I'm going to do this for customer one, just a tax invoice. Okay, I don't want to link now. I don't want to link to a quotation or a sales order. So I'm just going to say no. And here is my date. Once I go into this date, you'll see that the first period here is March 2024. It's auto populated that period for me. But in this financial period for this company, we've set it up as March 2024 up to February 2025, which is the 12th period. And then there's also a period number 13 within this database available. Okay, I can go on to the next month and then select 1 April, tab in. You'll see actually it changes to period number 2. So that means I can process in multi-periods. Period 1, now in period 2, and then I can say, no, I actually want to process in period number 3. So and you'll see it just updates. There's no issue or no block for me. So I can basically process in any period as this user because I've been allowed to do it. Right, so how do we stop that from happening? Okay, so I'm going to sign in now again as the super user, the main administrative user. You'll see it changes and it says admin. Okay, firstly, I go to setup, I go to users over here. Okay, I sign in, and you'll see you obviously are allowed to, or you need to go to the right users. So if I go and open here, you'll see there are many open users, but only these two, the one I've signed in second or firstly, was just that demo user. That's the one we're going to deal with now, and I'm now in as the super user. Okay, there's no other actual users that have been created on this database, and that's why it's empty on these email addresses. But you can load up to 99 users, but only 2 have been loaded. So, okay, so we're going to deal with this user over here. Okay, where do I go to then? I go here to process options, and you'll see here under general, the second option here is called multi-period processing. So I'm going to untick that and let's see what happens. Okay, close it. And now we go in and we sign in as the demo user number one. I'm back into that user now. Where did we go? Remember, we went over here and we went to tax invoices. Okay. And now I'm going to do the very same thing, C001, which is that customer. No, I do not want to link. Okay. So there's period one, exactly like it started previously. Now what I do, I go to the next period. I say April. And suddenly I get this message that says the valid period for this, or the date range, sorry, the valid date range for this period is, and it says to me April 1 March to 31 March 2024. You may only process in period one. Okay, so let's see if this is a block or just a warning message. So now I want to go over to the next field, and it's giving me this warning message. So I can't get out of this field and go on with my processing without correctly changing it to the right period, which is now in this case, as they said, 1 March to 31 March 2024. So now if I tab, I can go to the next field. And that's how you block it. Okay, so how do you then update that period? So I have to go back into my administrative user firstly. Again, in a setup, I go to periods. Okay, sign in. And you'll see here is the important little field. It says, what is the current period? So that's what's going to allow, or that's what determines the period that is open for my other users that do not have multi-period processing. This user that I'm in now, let's just go and see what this period that this user actually has access to. You'll see this is the administrative user. There's not even a process option. So this administrative user has the right to all types of processing and also has privileges to process a multi-period across multiple periods. So if I go into this specific user and I do the same thing, I just say C001, which is the first customer, I can see that it's already defaulted to a different period than the open period. But if I go back and I say I want to do in January, you'll see I can do multi-period processing on the administrative user. Okay, so let's just go back. How do we update the periods then? We go into this setup periods. We change this to number 2, for instance. Okay, if I now sign back into my user 1, I go back to this tax invoices. And now you'll see it's already defaulted here to period number 2. And if I try go back to March, which I was just able to do, it's now blocking me with this message just saying period 2 is now the valid period. You can only process in that. And if I go and try and go to the period I was just able to process on my super user, which was in Jan, I can't. All right, so that's how you block multi-period processing for your users. And remember, it's on user level. It's not on company level. So that means some users may be able to do multi-period processing if you want, or and some you do not have to. And then the nice thing is people can come back to you as the administrator and say there is a mistake or there's something that needs to change in a previous period. Can we please do that? And you as the administrator can then deal with that in your user, or give a short-term multi-period processing access perhaps, and then they can update and change that in the previous period and then close off that period again. I also think it's very nice to make sure the financial team and the business is on a stable historical kind of accuracy, not being able to process things into the back without proper discussion and authorization. Okay, guys, I hope that's been helpful, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks. Cheers, guys.